Let's exclamation. Nhưng thử upload cho áo. Cái slide là mình bị mấy slide trên đặt to to tại giờ nó phờ mình kia. Okay, all right. So today we are going to start with a new lesson about the JavaScript framework. Tell me if I speak too quick or maybe you are not clear what I say, as I haven't speak English for quite a while. So, okay. So for this semester, we are going to work on the JavaScript framework and as well as the Laravel framework. So in general, we work on mostly in the framework. I hope you already know what framework is, but if you don't know, you will see it very frequently in the future. There are two concepts that you are going to hear about. One is framework, another one is library. So currently in the market for development, there are two. They call it JavaScript framework, and another one is JavaScript library. And some popular technologies such as the React.js. Do you know about React.js? Hello? Do you know about React.js? React.js or maybe React Native is something that the technology that is developed by Facebook, and currently Facebook all the Facebook product as well as the Instagram, they are using React to build their application. And React.js is a JavaScript library, or maybe you can say JavaScript real-time runtime library. And another tool, the technology like Angular. I hope you also heard about Angular. It's a JavaScript framework. You will see in the next few slides to see what are the different. And here are the technology that I list. There are even more than this, but I just pick some different technology that you can compare with. The first one is Bootstrap. And then you see Ember, React, Bulma, Angular, Vue, Ionic, jQuery, and Quasar. Those are all JavaScript related technology, but some are framework, some are library, and some are CS framework combined with the JavaScript. For example, the Bootstrap or Bulma, they are all front-end framework that combine JavaScript together with CS. So here I group them into CS framework. We have Bulma. You can call it CS framework or maybe just front-end framework because it involves not just CS but as well as JavaScript. Angular, here's the logo for Angular. It is just JavaScript framework. And then we have a React. And then we have Ionic at the bottom here. I don't know why my mouse is not working. Hybrid framework is the technology that you can use to build a mobile application, and also for web or also with the desktop application. So we call it hybrid. And then we have Bootstrap, we have Semantic, we have Vue.js, we have jQuery, Quasar, and even more. If you search in the internet, just type in JavaScript framework, you may see a list of it, more than 10, I guess. And also CF framework, there are a lot, but JavaScript library, there's not much. But just for now, we have React.js and jQuery. And hybrid, there are a lot more as well. Okay, and what are the difference between all these four? For CF framework, or sometimes I call it a front-end framework, we use it to design a beautiful web page or web application. So with CF framework, we focus on the beautifulness, how to make your website more pretty, more beautiful. So when we use Bulma, you can see a style for Bulma. When you use Bootstrap, there is the style for Bootstrap. But whatever you use, it improves the user interface for your application. So this is the focus for CF framework. You can use Bulma Bootstrap with just CSS. You don't need to use JavaScript, and you can combine it with all the framework or library. Okay. And for JavaScript framework, it's a technology that only focus on JavaScript. It doesn't embed with the CS. So when you use JavaScript framework, you will need to use all the CS framework or front-end framework. So you need to combine together. In my case, for my experience, I use always Bootstrap combined with the Vue.js, or maybe Bootstrap used with the React. Okay. So normally we combine this to make your website more beautiful and to make your website easy to build, to make your website have more performance. Okay. And the purpose of JavaScript framework is to make developer build a standardized application, to make a development team know exactly what you are going to do. Because when we talk about framework, we talk about the project structure, we talk about how the components work together. Okay? So framework is kind of built-in really structure of your project. It knows exactly what we are going to make just when you see your code structure. If you tell your friend that you are using, for example, Vue.js to be your application, they can already see, they can already figure out how your structure is. Okay? Because framework is some kind of pre-designed structure that you need to follow. And it's not just about the project structure, but also about how you write your code in each component, how you connect with the server backend. Okay. But for library is a bit different, because library provide you useful tools to build your website as well, but they don't restrict, they don't limit how your project structure look like. So you have more freedom with using JavaScript library, but framework, you need to follow most of the case of what they suggest, what they design. All right. That is the most important difference between the framework and library. Vue.js currently is in version 3, but before that, in version 2, we group it into JavaScript library as well. But up until version 3, they consider it as a framework because it combined with all the technology together, so that you need to follow the structure to make a good web application. So when you see in internet, maybe you see some term Vue.js they are call it a library. And if you check, you go to the website of Vue.js directly, you will see it currently marked as a framework. And for hybrid framework at the bottom, it's similar to JavaScript framework as well. It's just that the difference is that they can build for mobile app like Android or iOS, and they can also build for desktop application, and they can also deploy as a website. Okay? So single code, we can deploy it into multiple targets. All right, any question? Okay, so there are many more than this. Go around and you will see it. And for our course, we are going to use Vue.js for front-end development. It doesn't mean that Vue.js is the best. There are a lot of discussion, a lot of debate about which one is the best JavaScript framework for front-end. Some say it's React, some say Vue.js, okay? And some say maybe Angular. But currently, I see many people are divided into Vue.js support team and React support team. And I cannot say which one is better because they are used in different cases. But for me, for the beginner, I think that for Vue.js is easier to learn. It's more compact together, and I think the syntax is very easy to understand. That's why I use Vue.js for the course. But for your case, after you learn about Vue.js, maybe you can move on to the framework like React. And in the development market in Cambodia, we have plenty of companies that are using Vue.js, and also we have plenty of companies that are using React. But most of the time, they use framework as a development technology to support their application. They don't build it from scratch. I rarely see people build the application from scratch. So if you are using this tool, it will improve your teamwork. It will improve your development time. Okay. Okay, so for now we are starting to use Vue.js. I will not cover every technology or every concept of the framework. The goal is of our course is just to introduce you to the framework. We will build a lot of examples with it, and you need to learn by yourself because for this semester we are going to learn 3 frameworks together: the Vue.js, the Node.js, and the Laravel. So for the assignment and as well for the project, we are going to have one project. So you need to do a lot of more research by yourself, okay? Don't expect I teach everything. You need to focus and you need to do a lot of research by yourself. So Vue.js is a progressive framework. This is some kind of definition from their website. So progressive framework and JavaScript framework is a bit different, but mostly it's just the same thing. I will skip this for now. We go into the detail, you will see. And Vue is a framework, like I said, and you see here is the use case that you can use with Vue.js. You can use to build static HTML. You can use to build a static HTML without having a backend. So it doesn't mean that Vue.js you need to have a backend. No, you can build it just for static web page. Or maybe you can embed a web component into any page. It means that you can build a component with Vue.js, and then you can embed it into the old page, or maybe just HTML page. You can build a single page application. Single page application is application or a web page that works without reloading the user interface again, or maybe without reloading the new page. I explained this in the semester 1. I hope that you already remember about it. We have two kinds of rendering. We have client-side rendering and we have a server-side rendering. And for single page application is use client-side rendering. This means that you transfer a page to front end to client or maybe user browser, and after that it load data piece by piece without render the page again. It's called a server client-side rendering, and sometimes it's just called a single page application. Okay, because there are two different key terms, but two of them are together. So SPA, it means that you are using client-side rendering. And then we can use Vue.js as a server-side rendering as well. It means Vue.js can run on the server, and then it render on the server and deploy the page that it's already rendered to client. Okay, Vue.js can do that as well. And then we can build a static site. Okay. To do all this, there is the framework called Node.js. Node.js is just a Vue.js framework, but a kind of evolution of Vue.js. It have more feature that you can use. But for me, I prefer Vue.js because I have more control on it. Node.js is more kind of strict. You need to follow a lot of its structure. All right, and last one, you can use to build desktop, mobile, and WebGL, and even for the terminal. Okay. So with Vue.js, you have a lot of possibility to build your application. And here how to install it. To install it, we have many ways to do it, and there are two easy to use with the installation. One, by using the CDN, just embed the link into HTML. You see all tabs like this, right? Or maybe you can build the Vue.js project by using a build tool with the Node package manager npm. Okay. There are other ways as well. Even with build tool, you have another build tool to build it. And I think we don't need to know all this. Just make sure you know two of this. One by using CDN and another one by using the npm init. So if you want to use npm init, you need first to install npm into your computer. First install Node.js, second install npm. Okay. After you install all these two tools, and then you can start write npm init. You add latex, something like that, and it will be download the source code for you. Or maybe if you don't want to do all this, you just use CDN. It's fine as well. Just embed the link like in the screen. Okay. And when you are ready after installation, you need to build the component. And the component is combined of three sections. One is HTML, another is JS, and the last one is CS. Okay. And most of the cases in the future, when you write your Vue.js component, you need to write three of them together, because one application in Vue.js is a combination of multiple components. Okay? So even the biggest application is also in the form of component. So when you build your application, it means that you are combining multiple components together to have a big application. And each component are composed of three sections: the HTML, the JS, and the CS. right? And to render it into the user browser, it uses the concept of declarative rendering. So there are two types of two concepts of rendering. One is declarative rendering, and another one is imperative rendering. So here is an example, a non-code example. Imagine that a mom wants a kid to tidy their room, right? So there are two ways to instruct the kid how to tidy their room. One is to provide all the instruction, like pick up the toy, empty the bin, remove dust, and finally vacuum the floor. You see, this is a series of instructions exactly, and the kid need to follow all this. With this, they call it imperative rendering. Okay, like for example, jQuery. jQuery is very popular in maybe in the last 5 years, I think. You find a lot of wrote in jQuery, but currently it still exists, but now we start to move into more advanced framework like React or Vue or other. Okay, so imperative rendering is a jQuery concept. jQuery use this kind of rendering. It means that we need to have exactly series of instructions and need to follow all that. But for declarative rendering, it's different. You don't provide the instruction, but instead you provide the final result. So, like in the example, mom just gave a photo and to show that it's how you're clean, how the room is clean. So the kid need to do whatever they need to do to make sure that the final result is exactly the same as the picture. And we call it declarative rendering. And UJS is a declarative rendering type. Any questions so far? No.
When we write Vue.js, we use CDN or install like that, but we just use extension. We write in the JS one.
You are asking about installation. Can you repeat it one more time?
We have clarify about the writing code on the JS. It's like writing in a JS file with the Vue.js. Because
I see. You mean how to write UJS by in JS file or in other file type? You mean like that?
yeah, the extension.
Right. The extension. There are two ways to write UJS application. One is using the JS extension. It means that you write your code in a JS file. Another one is to write in another extension. We call it .vue. Okay, .vue. It's another type of extension, and I recommend to write it in .vue file because it's easier to read. But sometimes you can also write it in JS file. It is a possible as well. Okay, you will see it in the example after this. Any other question? Anything not just about this, what I have, what I talked to you until now? Maybe you have other questions why we are using UGS or why, what are the best about it, or maybe any question you can ask me. If you are hard to speak in English, maybe just ask in Khmer as well.
What about the final result of Vue.js? Because you said that the Vue.js is the declarative type, and it's like the lead, like showing the final result, and then can for the step. what is the result of the VGS when we build it in our project.
Hello, Sophia. Hello, Sophia. Hello, Linh không ạ? Hello. So,
Nó cũng slow bác ơi. Tôi gọi lên lịch.
Cô gọi đánh
Hello. Hello lượt. Hello.
Lừa là
Internet ខ្ញុំមានបញ្ហាឡើយឥឡូវប្រើ hotspot ដល់សតដូចច្បាស់អត់
ច្បាស់លោក
ពេលប្រសិនបើដាច់ពេលណាប្រាប់ខ្ញុំព្រោះឥឡូវខ្ញុំមើល hotspot internet វាដាច់មិញ Okay, let's continue.
hello, Sophia. Linh không hao. Hello. Hello.
lừa ra.
Nắng này cho xua theo ở nhưng mấy họ xua អីគេទៅច្រើនសំសុខហ្នឹងមិនដាច់នឹង
work like your CPL declarative.
Phía xua lé có xua đôi giấy đi ở sau mà sẽ ban thì hello hello Lưu Vinh Ngữ có dùng gì ạ? Lưu là không vìបញ្ហាមិនដល់បញ្ខ្ញុំគេសង្ឃឹមតែអីហើយយើងបន្តទៀតទៀត Okay, so we are back in here. So like I explained before, UGS is the combination of the component. So everything is the component. Even the application itself is also a component. And for us, it is a component. When you say about component, it's kind of a small application inside another application. So it has their own life cycle. If you are working with maybe Android or iOS application, they are also have their own life cycle. All right. So just like you meant, application component also have its life cycle. And maybe it's a bit too small here. I will search for a better, bigger one for you. Okay. It's a bit too small. You can just go to the browser and type UGS life cycle. There are a lot of image in here. Maybe choose this one. No, we don't have the image here. So maybe go to image. Just this one. Here, right? So here is the image. It's similar to the one in the slide presentation. It's just a bit small, so I moved here. You can see the new view here. It means that when we are creating a new component, it will have all the life cycle at the bottom. Okay. So here, when the component is started, or when a component is created, there's a before create event, and then there is a created event, and then there is before mounted, before destroy, and destroy. Okay, so there are 3 states important, and each state have 2 events. One is before, another one is after. So the first state is about create. When you create a new component, there are 2 events attached to it. It's the before create and after create. But we call it created, not after create, right? So we write it in the past simple form. And after that, we have before mount and mounted, and before destroy and destroyed. Okay. And when you start building your application or your Vue.js application, you will use a lot of this because lifecycle is very important in building application, not just for Vue.js, but also for other applications like Android or iOS. You need to write your code in the target life cycle to make your application work, or maybe to make your application smooth, good performance, right? You can write your code in mounted, or maybe you can write in created, but they are slightly different. If you write some case in created, it will make your application look slow, or maybe it can make your application crash, because when you write in created, something is not appear yet. Okay? Because there is a process inside here. When you write in mounted, it means that the basic template is already rendered. So if you need to write something related to your UI, it's better to write it in the mounted. Okay? But maybe if you want to load data early, you can write it in creative. Okay? So they are different. So it's better to know about what are the difference between the life cycle. We are not going to go deep in here because you will see a lot in during your practice. So for now, just remember we have 3 steps: create, mount, and destroy. All right. The detail here we will go bit by bit later. We also have before update and update it, but normally we don't use it. We rarely use it. Okay, so go back to the slide presentation. I will not go deep in here, so we skip for now. We go to here. In use component or your application, you have many things to work with, but there are 3 important concepts in here. One is about directive, another one is about method, another the last one about data. So directive, for directive is kind of a special token, or maybe you call it a markup. In just like HTML, you have HTML markup like span, paragraph, or header. Yes. In UJS, it has their own directive as well. It is in the form of attribute. You can write it as attribute. You see in the picture below. I'm not sure why my mouse is not showing, but you see in the image below the directive section, you see VType, VF, VL, right? They are all the directive, and you write it as an attribute of the HTML tag. Just like image, you have a source, you have width, you have height, right? So when you write in UJS, you can add an additional attribute. For example, now we have VType, we have VF, we have VL, but all these attributes only work when you apply UJS inside your page. Okay, and each directive and each of these directives have their own meaning, have their own use. For example, VType. VType is a directive to supply a tag into HTML tag. So if you like the example here, you apply a message to new HTML tag. Okay, so when it's rendered, you will see a message inside that HTML view. HTML view. And like for VF or VL, it's just like when you write if it's not more programming language. But when you write it in a template with a Vue.js, you need to use VF, VL. It's a bit different. It's kind of a new concept for you, but you will use to it later. It's quite easy. And then after directive, you have method. In semester 1, when I told you how to write event listener, like a click event or mouse click, key up, key down, remember? You need to create your own method and combine it with those listeners. In Vue.js, it still follows that concept, but the way you write it is more easier to understand. It's more simple. So there is a section called method, and you write all those methods inside. And then from the HTML section, you can access to all those methods easily. Just mention the name, and you can write it quickly. And finally, the data. In each component of Vue.js, it has their own data set. And it's kind of a private collection that you can use in every section of your component. Okay. And here is the example. The example is using Vue.js 3. You can see in the top one, we embed Vue.js 3 inside. And at the bottom, you see in the script tag, we create the Vue component by using Vue.createApp. And you can call this in when you use UJS version 3. But in our next example, we are going to use Vue version 2. And why I use Vue version 2? Because Vue version 3 is not quite ready yet. Even now it published the default version, but there's still a lot of plugins that we need, still not compatible with Vue 3 yet. There are some kind of various bugs, so we are going to use version 2 first. And the difference is just a bit some of syntax and some more advanced feature that they exist in Vue 3 but not exist in Vue 2. Anyway, the basic concept, the code, like 80 to 90% is the same. So in the example or the exercise after this, we are going to use version 2. All right. So it's enough for now. I talk a lot. So let's just directly to practice. And to practice here, I already create a code base. You can clone it from this, right? And the branch is called calculator. So go to your terminal. Okay. And then go to your project folder. I have my own project folder here. And then I have it 2021. I need to remove something that I just cloned it. Remove this one. Yes. And then you run git clone. All right. Git clone. And you copy it from here. It's the same repository that we use from since the semester 1. It's the same. Okay. And then I rename it into calculator. Okay. I go to the calculator folder. You will see all this code. But you see here in the main branch, we need to switch to the calculator branch, like the instruction here. All right. So to make sure that we have all the code, you can write, you can fetch one more time. Get fetch all here is to retrieve all the branch from the remote repository. Okay. For me, I am sure I have it already. I just want to show you. So in case you cannot speak to branch calculator, please write this command inside. And then you need to speak it with git checkout and then mention the branch name. All right. Currently, I'm in the branch calculator, and then we can check the code. All right. So if you clone it correctly, you will see these two, one file and one folder. The file is called calculator.html, and the folder is called asset. And inside we don't have anything except the CS file. So here I don't create the JavaScript file. I just create HTML and CS. And here you can start writing it with live server. Okay, here is our calculator. Okay, so when you click on it, you can inspect it and make it to the right section. Here is about favorite icon. You don't need to worry about it. Okay, just click it. Okay. So when you click on it, nothing happened because we only have HTML and CS. So here I just create a table or button, and there's a name inside here, but nothing beside it. Beside this, you see only the HTML page. And our goal is to convert this HTML to make sure that it works with Vue.js. By clicking number here, it will appear in the screen. It's our goal for the practice. All right. Everyone, did you catch up to me? So I will wait a bit to make sure that everyone have access to this code. Let me know if you cannot clone it or whatever.
Wait a bit, teacher. It has some problem, so I clone it once again.
All right.
Teacher, it said that that repository not found.
Repository not found. I don't think that, because I just cloned, you see, right? Make sure the URL here is correct. I can copy it again in case you cannot copy from the PDF or what.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that repository 6/3/21.
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
So here the URL. Make sure you copy it right, and then inside your terminal, you need to write git clone the URL here.
Oh, wait, teacher.
Okay. And first, put another name in case you want to rename it. If not, when you clone it, you will see a folder called 2021. So it's better to rename it to something else. For me, I rename it to calculator. Okay. And after that, if you clone a new project, you will be in the main branch. You need to switch it by write command git checkout and branch name. In our case, we are using branch calculator. Is it all right now? Make sure that you have the code like mine. I have a calculator HTML file. I have the asset folder. And when I right click and run with live server here, you will see this page. And then don't forget to inspect it. You need to open the developer mode to see what's going on inside. F1 return. Okay, change it to color white here. Okay, everyone, do you have the code ready?
Not yet, teacher, because
It's all right.
no,
Let me know if you cannot make it work. If it's something error, you can share your screen and I can help.
launcher.
Yes.
I have problem with the link. Your
Maybe share your screen. I can see what's wrong. Oh. Sorry, just see your message here. Because you see this message because I'm using the SSH URL. You see the URL here, Git and GitHub. It means that to use this, you need to have a key ready. I think I told you last time, I'm not sure. We can take some time to see how to fix it. If you go to GitHub and then log in into your account, what? Oh. Okay. So if you log into your GitHub account, you go to the repository here. There are two URL that you can work with. Where is it? I cannot find. You cannot.
Teacher, on the code green button, you click on the branch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you come to here, you click on the code green button here. You see there are two tabs. One is using HTTP. Okay. Another one is using SSH. And what the code I copy and send to you is this one. And if you haven't connected your key yet, you will see the error like your friend screenshot here. Okay. And to fix this, you need to register your key. And I recommend it to make that work. But as it will take some time, so for now, I just copy this link for you.
But that one also doesn't work here.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, but I see your friend here. Make it work. Can you try it again with this link? Normally, if it at most it will ask your username and password one more time. Make sure you type in correctly. Or if you still cannot make it work, just come to this website and then click clone download as zip folder. It's fine as well. But still, I recommend to make sure that you can use the SAUR because it will help a lot. Not just about how convenient it is, and also about the security. So you can do that. Do this by yourself later to save some time now. Just use this link, or maybe just download the zip folder. But I'm sure it works with HTTPS. Okay, are you ready? មិនទៅមានទៅមុខបានដែរឥឡូវនៅណានៅមានបញ្ហាទៀតវិជាសុភាមិនអីបានទេ
បានទេច្រើនបាន
Okay, so we start. We continue. So you will see the HTML here, the button, or cannot be clicked. You see nothing because we only have the HTML and CSS. And when you go to the console, it's too small. Click the arrow here. You see nothing beside all this tab. All right. We will going to find a new tab called View. If you haven't installed it yet, go to the extension. Maybe here is the extension. Setting. Extension. Okay. Go to this extension in your Chrome browser. And then maybe you can search for View Dev Tool. Or maybe you just search in the internet, UGF Dev Tool here. Okay. And then click on this. If you haven't installed it yet, click install. But because I already installed it, I can see the remove button. So make sure you install it because we are going to use it for our development. And UGS Dev Tool, there are two versions, one for UGS version 2 and another one is for version 3. And like I said before, the Dev Tool here doesn't work very well with the version 3. I keep having some crash sometimes. So that's why we will use the version 2. So you need to use this one. You see, it's a very important extension. So there are more than 1 million developers using this. Okay, so after you install it, you come to here and you refresh it. You don't see it. You still don't see it because this extension will work only if you use the Vue.js application inside, but currently we don't have it yet. For now, just make sure that you have the extension installed. Okay. So after we have here, you can go to the Vue.js documentation website. Make sure that you are on version 2 here. If not, if you see the version 3, there's a bit different. And I don't want you to focus on the version 3 yet, just now for version 2. And then you can go to the installation here. As I already explained in the slide presentation, there are many ways to do it. And we can use the CDN, we can use the NPM, we can use the CLI, and many more. Okay. So currently we can use the CDN, the most simple way to do it by just copy this CDN. Okay, this one or this one. And then go back to your code. Inside the HTML page, down below, before the end of the body, paste it inside here. Okay, it means that we are embedding the Vue.js 2.6. And when we do like that, we come to the page, we refresh it, nothing happened. We click on here, we cannot see the Vue tab because we embed the source code of Vue.js, but we haven't used it yet. That's why you cannot see anything. All right. And after that, after you embed the Vue.js source code, you can start writing it. Where is it? Here, at this one. Okay. So this is a simple way to embed the Vue.js source code. Another way that we will use it later is by using the npm here. Okay, I think this one is more official. It's better because you can install a lot of plugins easy by using the npm. So we can use this as well by removing this. So it's back to the original one and come to the terminal here. Make sure you are inside the your current folder, and then you can run npm init. Just enter. Okay. So when you run npm init here, npm init here, make sure that you already have npm installed. If not, you need to install it first by install Node.js and then install npm. So if you don't have it yet, just go to Google and search how install npm. Simple. Okay. Just like the instruction. First, you need to install the Node.js. Install Node.js, you can do it by just download it. If you are on Windows or maybe on Mac, just download it from here. Okay, there is the LTE version and the current version. I recommend to use the LTE version here. And there are three type of software that you install. If you are using Mac OS, click on this. If you are using Windows, click on this. If you are using maybe Linux or something else, click on this. So click on it, you will download a file and just install it. And normally it's come together with npm. After installing it, try to run command node dash version. And if you can see the version, it means that the node application is correctly installed. And then you can try run npm dash version. Okay, so my computer is using npm version 6 and node version 14. If you see the different number, it's fine. I installed it quite a long time ago, so my version should be older than yours, but still fine. Make sure you all have these two application installed, and then you can run npm init just like I did here. Okay, and after you install it, you init the new project, you will see a package JSON folder here. A package.json is a file that maps all the dependency in your application. Okay, we will use it a lot, even with Node.js, even with Vue.js or other React. They all use this package.json, so it's better to learn about it now. Okay. So in the package.json, you will see the repository, the script. So skip it for now. What the important here is just the name, the version, and the dependency. But for now, we don't have the dependency yet. All right. So after you init it, there's it. After you init it, you can install Vue.js source code into your application by using the this one, npm w. Okay, after installation, you will see in the dependency here, version 3. Now we want to use version 2, but the default one is version 3, so you need to mention the version. Okay, so if you don't mention the version, you will install the later version, which is version 3. It's fine to use it, but for now, I just want to use the version 2, which is more stable. Anyway, if you install it, you see it in the dependency here, and you will see another folder called Node Module. And inside, you will see a lot of things, but what is important is the view folder here. Okay, so here is the source code, the library that you are going to use. The difference between using the npm and with the CDN is that the CDN, we don't download the source code to our computer ready for use, but instead we download it on the runtime. But for this method, we download all the source code that we need into our library, call it Node Module, and inside you see it here. So this is the source code. It's another way to use Vue.js. Okay. So for now, I want to switch to version 2 first, because if we are using version 3, there are some problems. So let's go to version 2. We need to see the version. Version 2 here is 2.6.14. Okay, just copy it, simple. And then go to here and replace it here. Okay, if not, you can also run npm install Vue again, but mention the version like this. Okay, so we also replace your Vue with another version that you mentioned. All right. So you come to here, and then you go to packages on here. You can see the version is 2.6.14. Okay, do you understand? Toàn này chẳng. Chứ vậy thì bạn như vậy môn nó cứ mình pi vị trí làm bây install một Vue.js á thì mỗi cứ dùng ซีเดน thì pi cứ dùng npm បើចង់ឲ្យស្រួលគឺប្រើតែ CDN copy ដាក់មកតែវិធីហ្នឹងបានតែបដោះសនេះទៅមុខទៀតយើងអាចប្រើវិធីហ្នឹងទេគឺតែការប្រើ npm ហើយអញ្ចឹងហើយបានខ្ញុំលុប CDN ចោលហើយដាក់ npm ឲ្យវិញណា Okay. So up until now, make sure that you have the dependency here, version 2.6. Make sure that inside your application there are another folder called Node Module, and inside you see a folder view. All right. And after that, come back to the HTML, and you can start writing it. You can start write your application, but make sure you see here there is a file called index.js. Index.js here, because when you are using a npm package to create a new project, it needs to have a starting point to start your application. And we have file called index.js, so you need to create a new file called index.js. If not, you cannot run your program. All right. Okay, ready? Mấy nhỉ? Sao chưa mấy? Sao nhỉ?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so we can continue here. Template. Okay, so we come to the index.js file that I just created. Like I said, it's important because in the package.json, we mentioned that you need to have a file called index.js to run. So in here, when you come to here, you can start writing new view. And then like this. Okay. So the function new view here is to create a new user component, a root component. And inside, you can mention the template like this. And when you run it just like this one, if you have some error, but I want to show you how the error is. You can run npm run start, no, npm run, what is it? But I think I missed some comment here. Very good. What I'm trying to test it because I have a UCLI installed, and it's another way to install it. You don't need to worry about this now. I just want to see the example. When you are using the UCLI, it will create all the necessary folder for you. But what I just show you is just like building everything from scratch. So I need some command. To fix this, I need to create a new one, and then I can just copy some missing function, all right? Or maybe if you want to use the UCLI, you can do it as me, like what I did, by install UCLI first here. I'm using a UCLI version 4.5. And after you have the UCLI installed, you can create a new view project just by run command view create, just like what I did. Just that I want to skip this part and show you the step by step, but somehow it missed some command. So I need to do this for now. It takes some time because you need to download a lot of things. Okay. So we can come here and make sure that the command is correct. I see some different here. Okay, it used UCI service to start it. I think maybe it's better for you guys to install UCI as well. If not, we still have some problem later on. So you can install UCLI by running the command for us here, UCLI here, and then you install it first because we are going to use it later. Install. Like this. npm install -g /u/cli. Okay, -g here for global installation. It means it can access throughout your application, your computer. So just copy this URL and then run it in your terminal. It's become black here. Okay. Can run like that, and then you can access to command view like this, and you can create something like that. All right, I think that's more easier for you to start. Okay. For this command, it's better to run it outside the calculator folder. For now, we will have two folders. One is the calculator that you clone from the GitHub. Another one, after you install UCLI, you can run this command, and it will create another folder called sample U. I just want to make sure that you have access to UCLI. If you already you install it correctly, you will be able to create a folder called sample U here. All right, so make sure it is outside your calculator folder. Okay. And if everything working fine, you will have a sample view here. And then there are many things new. We have public folder, we have node module folder, and a lot of inside. But you don't need to worry about all of this. Skip it. You have a SRC folder here, and you have a package JSON here. And in the package JSON, there is a script called serve here. Okay, everything is created by default. After you run, you create simple app or simple view. Everything is already exists. So just make sure you see all this. You don't need to modify anything yet. And then down below, you have a dev dependency. And in the dev dependency, you see the CLI plugin, you see the ESLint, view template compiler. All of these will be needed later on. You don't need to know what it is yet. It will be complicated. So just make sure you have all of this, and then you can run the command npm run serve. Okay. If everything working fine, you can run this command npm run serve, and then it will deploy your application on your local 8080. Copy it, and then go to the browser and paste it. You should be able to see all of this. Okay, it's a bit complicated, but this is the official way to do it. I think it's better if we follow the official step. It's better, so you can start your project better, faster. So you will see all of this, right? And I can explain how it works. Here, we have a main.js, and main.js here is coming from doesn't mention it here. Main.js here is the main folder. It's the main file that start your application or when you run your application. You see the command is just like what I showed you before, but I write it one by one. That's why it's kind of error. So now I just create a new view component by UCLI command. In here, it create a new view instance, and it render the app here. Okay, it means that we need to import the app from somewhere and then apply it into view instance. So if you go to find the app here, you can see it import from a file called app.view. All right. So when you see, you can see a app.view file here, and inside app.view, like I told you guys before, we have two ways to write view application. One by using view extension here, another one is using JS extension. But the official way to do it by using the view extension. In view extension, you can write HTML directly here inside a template text. You can write JavaScript here by writing them inside the script tag here. And finally, you can write style inside the style tag here. Okay, remember in the slide presentation, I told you we have 3 sections inside a view component: the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. So here is a very good example showing how it looks like inside a view component. We have the style, we have the JavaScript, and we have the HTML template. Just make sure that everything you write inside a correct tag. If it is HTML, you write it inside HTML tag. If it is JavaScript, you write it inside script tag. And if it is a CSS, you write it inside style tag. Okay. All right, so what you see here, the welcome to your Vue.js app, something like that, is coming from the hello world. Okay? Hello world is another component. So for now, we have 3 components so far. First is the main component by create with a new Vue syntax. It will create a new root component, and inside the root component, it call another component which is app.vue. And when you go to here, it's another component. And when you go to script tag, you see it import another component, okay, called hello world. And you see it is coming from the component folder, here component folder, and hello world. And here is another component. You see the same style. We have template, we have script, we have style as well. It's another component. So to now we have 3 components: the root, the app, and the hello world. And you can change what it shows here by update the template here. Maybe I just remove everything inside. Just keep the template and deal here. Here is the last child component. Okay, you can update like that. And it will be auto refresh because we are using hot reload. When you are using a Vue CLI component or Vue CLI tool, it will attach with the hot reload. So when you update it, it changes directly. You see here the component that I just changed, but maybe you are wondering what is the logo coming from. So in the hello world component, we don't have that logo. But like I said, we have 3 components inside, which is called one after another. If you cannot find the logo in here, so maybe the logo is from the app here. Here, the logo. All right. So if you don't want the logo, just remove it, save it, and come back here. You will see only the mistake that I wrote in the hello world component. So inside, you can start to inspect it and go to this arrow, and finally you will see the view tab. Okay, and here's some kind of welcome message. You can read it or what you like, or maybe you can just skip it. And you see we are using the version 2.6.14. And here is the component inside, like I told you. The first one is root component, second one is app component, and the last one is hello world component. Okay. Any question? Will you install Vue CLI down rồi? Mới install Vue CLI down sẵn bằng vừa tạm những tổn á. Vue CLI đi gì mình chứng cứ run command npm install -g u sẽ cái mình u CLI vậy click command vào đây rồi mình link cái này and here install -g add u/cli cho nên mình phải add u/cli chẳng mà anh ấy sang nhầm miếng tay nhầm run đóng tiếp viên đừng update version thay mới nhầmយើង install ចាំតិចទៅវា install អត់ក្នុងបានហើយបន្ទាប់ពី install ហើយយើងអាច run command view create អូខេហើយឈ្មោះនោះដាក់អីក៏បានដែរក្នុងករណីរបស់ខ្ញុំប្រើ sample view អូខេ
លោកគ្រូដល់ពេល run command view create simple view របស់លោកគ្រូនឹង run នៅក្នុង terminal ដែលលោកគ្រូ
បាទ run ក្នុង terminal ទៅធ្វើម៉េចឲ្យយើង install view CLI ហើយតែយើង install ហើយយើងអាច run command នឹងបានហើយចង់ check មើលយើងអាច check version របស់វាជាបានក៏បានដែរបើសិនបើយើង run install ដែរយើងនឹងឃើញនេះ version របស់ view CLI ចឹងរបៀបប្រើ view នោះមានច្រើនវិធីដូចខ្ញុំប្រាប់មិញតាំងពី set up precedent ប្រើ npm install ឬក៏វិធីចុងក្រោយដែលយើងឃើញឥឡូវហ្នឹងគឺប្រើ view CLI ចឹងវាមានច្រើនគ្រាន់តែរបស់ដែលងាយស្រួលជាងគេក្នុងចំណោមប្រមាណ3វិធីហ្នឹងគឺ view CLI ដោយសារតែពេលយើង install តាមវិធីហ្នឹងយើងនឹង install របស់ដែលយើងត្រូវការទាំងអស់មកម្ដុំតែម្ដងយើងអត់ចាំបាច់ custom set up ម្ដងមួយអញ្ចឹងវិធីដែលល្អក្នុងករណីឥឡូវខ្ញុំ recommend គឺប្រើ view CLI នឹងមកអញ្ចឹងយើងវាជួយយើងច្រើនអានេះដល់ពេលខ្ញុំ install ថ្មីទៅវា update ឲ្យយើងនៅ version 5នេះចាឥឡូវបើខ្ញុំ run version 2ទៀតគឺត្រូវទទួលបាន version 5អូខេហើយពេលអាហ្នឹងហើយគឺយើង run view create អញ្ចឹងមកខ្ញុំសាកដូរមួយទៀតអានេះខ្ញុំទៅជា location អូខេពេលហ្នឹងវានឹងសួរយើងថាយើងចង់ប្រើ version ប្រមាណនេះ version 3 version 2ឬក៏ feature select អញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំ recommend ប្រើ version 2នេះសិនអូខេចាំទៅមុខទៀតខ្ញុំចង់ប្រើ version 3តាមក្រោយក៏បានដែរជា version 2ហ្នឹងមកវានឹង download របស់មួយចំនួនដែលយើងត្រូវការហ្នឹងមកដែរអាហ្នឹងទៅតាម speed internet ដែរ download វាអាច3ទៅ5នាទីដែរទៅតាម speed របស់យើងតោះអត់អញ្ចឹងសំណឹងអានេះខ្ញុំធ្វើខាងក្រៅ calculator របស់យើង Thavorac ណាអូខេI stop here first and then I will need to remove most of things here because we don't want to have all this the main.js file we will keep it like this the app.views I remove the image and I have the component here but I think that hello world doesn't need in the calculator, right? So it's better I remove it or maybe just rename it into calculator.view. Or maybe we can just remove it completely. Remove it. And in here, you remove it as well. You remove this from here as well. And finally, you remove it from here. Okay, so now everything is clean. You only have two components, which is one is the root and another one is the app. Okay, if you save it here like this, you run it again by running command npm run serve. Wait a bit. Copy the link here, go to the browser, okay, you will see the message app component, and inside you see only two components right now, the root and the app. All right. So to continue from here, one way is to copy the necessary file into our calculator, but it will take a lot of things to do. So instead, I better copy the calculator inside here because there are only two files from the calculator, remember? We only have maybe I check out first. Okay. Okay, here the original file. We only have the calculator.html, and we only have the asset folder which contain only the CS, right? So it's better to copy just from here to our new project. It's better. Okay. So I will copy everything here, except the top above. I only copy what is inside the body tag. Just copy like this, and go to our use CLI project that we just created, and inside app.view here, make sure you paste everything inside deal with the ID app. All right. In you project, you cannot have multiple child, like something like another deal here. You see it's marked as an error, and you can see the message, the template root require exactly one element. Okay, so you cannot have two child element here. If you have to, make sure that you paste inside another deal. That's why I paste our file inside the ID app. All right, and then you come back into here. Make sure you copy our CS as well. If not, you will see a very ugly calculator. Okay. So coming to the CS, copy everything and go back into our project here and go down to the style. Here, you can remove it and then pass it back to what we have copied. Okay, and then you can go check here. Okay, there are some missing style because we need to make sure the style is correctly written. Make sure maybe go back. No, here is the style. We are missing something inside. Okay, maybe I need to check it later, but for now, just make sure you see all this first. You will have root component and you will have app component. And even now, if you click on all this button, it doesn't work. It still doesn't work. But anyway, we are converting a static HTML page into a view page, view component page. Okay. I think we missed this. That's why it doesn't work. Mấyពួកយើងធ្វើតាមខ្ញុំតន់ដល់ហ្នឹង
អត់តន់ផងច្រើន
អត់តន់ក៏តន់មិនស្អាតបាន
អត់តន់នៅកន្លែងឈើ remove ហើយដាក់កូដចូល
អូខេឥឡូវម្ដងទៀតចឹងខ្ញុំ undo មកវិញអូខេឥឡូវវិញខ្ញុំ undo មកវិញគឺមកដល់ហើយនេះយើងទៅមើលបើយើងគឺអត់មានអីគឺមានតែ app component ជា message ដែលខ្ញុំអត់សរសេរឡើងនេះអូខេចឹងឥឡូវ original វាដដែលយើងទៅ copy ពី HTML របស់យើងនេះមក HTML របស់យើងនេះការ calculator ហ្នឹងអាខាងលើទាំងអស់នោះអត់ copy ទេណាយើង copy តែរបស់នៅក្នុង body នេះ copy តែប៉ុណ្្នេះមកអូខេ copy វាហើយយើងមកដល់កន្លែង up w របស់យើងនេះវាលុបអានឹងចោលមកហើយ passport របស់យើងក្នុងហ្នឹងទៅខ្ញុំ fold នេះដើម្បីឲ្យវាមើលច្បាស់តិចអូខេនេះហើយបន្ទាប់មកយើងលុបអា CS របស់វាដែលមានស្រាប់នៅនេះអូខេយើងទៅយក CS របស់យើងមកវិញ CS របស់យើងគឺនៅក្នុង index.cs នេះ copy ទាំងអស់មកបន្ទាប់មកដាក់វាចូលនៅក្នុង text style នេះអូខេប៉ុណ្ណឹងទៅយើងនឹងបានគ្រប់ caption នេះមកហើយគ្រាន់តែវាបាត់ logo បាត់ icon មួយចំនួនវាបាត់ icon ដោយសារខ្ញុំប្រើ font awesome ហើយនឹងពណ៌មួយចំនួនតែអីចាំ fix តាមក្រោយហ្នឹងដើម្បីឲ្យចេញប៉ុណ្ណឹងសិន
លោកគ្រូសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំមិនដឹងក្នុង VS Code ខ្ញុំអត់ស្គាល់ template ទេលោកគ្រូ
អត់ស្គាល់គេ
ចូលគឺរូប send ឲ្យលោកគ្រូ
send មកហ្នឹងរូបហ្នឹងមែន
បាទលោកគ្រូបាទ
អានេះអត់បានកាយណា
ពេលខ្ញុំបាទខ្ញុំ install មកដំបូងខ្ញុំទៅចូលដល់កន្លែងហ្នឹងហើយដល់ពេលចូលទៅវាអត់ស្គាល់អញ្ចឹង
អាចយក mouse ដាក់ពីលើអាក្រហមកន្លែង hello world ហ្នឹងដាក់ទីពីលើទេវានឹងបង្ហាញ message error មកយើងយក mouse របស់យើងដាក់ពីលើកន្លែង error ជួរទី3នោះហើយមើលវាថា error ថាម៉េចបើនេះ share screen វិញហ្មងបានទេ share screen ខ្ញុំមើលវិញហ្មងស្រួលមើលខ្ញុំជួយមើលបាន
លោកគ្រូហើយវាសម្រាប់អីគេអានោះបទវិជាបើខ្ញុំមួយទៀតខ្ញុំ send ទៅខាងលើលោកគ្រូ
អានេះខ្ញុំប្រាប់មិញតែថានៅក្នុង template វាមាន root component តែមួយទេបើយើងមើល template របស់យើងមាន root component 12វាមាន text 12ក្នុងហ្នឹងដូចមើលរូបនេះខ្ញុំឃើញ template មាន template ពីលើហើយបន្ទាប់មកយើងមានឆាលពី image មួយហើយនិង hello world មួយឃើញអត់តោះណា ដើម្បីធ្វើយ៉ាងហ្នឹងបានយើងបង្កើតទៅ take deal មួយមកក្តោបជាមួយអាពីរហ្នឹង
បាទលោកគ្រូ
អានេះខ្ញុំប្រាប់មិញណាគឺក្នុង template គឺមានត្រូវតែមានតែ element តែមួយទេអញ្ចឹងបើមានពីរអញ្ចឹងក្តោបវាជំវិញ3 deal មួយទៀតណាហើយករណីវិជាវិញmodule not found can resolve upw អាច screenshot structure file ខ្ញុំមើលតិចបានទេព្រោះតាម message ហ្នឹងវាប្រាប់ថាវារក file upw អត់ឃើញអញ្ចឹងវិជា screenshot មកតិចមក
កន្លែងហ្នឹងឈើ move app view ហ្នឹងចូលក្នុង component មែន
នៅ file ដើមណា original យើងមាន3 component អូខេយើងមាន root យើងមាន app យើងមាន hello world តោះនេះមាន3ណាចុះអ្វីដែលខ្ញុំធ្វើមកដល់ឥឡូវហ្នឹងគឺខ្ញុំលុប hello world ចោលខ្ញុំຕົកតែ root ហើយនឹង app ទេអូខេយើង make sure ថាយើងមាន component 2 root ហ្នឹងមិនបាច់ឆែកទៅតែមានទេបើយើងមាន path file main.js ណាហើយយើងត្រូវមាន file មួយទៀតគឺ app.u
វានៅ error នៅកន្លែងណាកន្លែងក្រហមនៅមុខ template ហ្នឹងទៀតលោកគ្រូកន្លែង hello មិញដល់ពេលខ្ញុំបង្កើត deal តាមលោកគ្រូទៅឡើងចេញ
ចាំនេះទៅ error ណានៅផ្សេង no babel config template អាច share screen ខ្ញុំបន្តិចបានទេ
បាទលោកគ្រូបាទលោកគ្រូ
share screen មកខ្ញុំអាចឆែកមើលបាន
អូខេ screen
បាទឃើញទៅកន្លែង error មិញ error ណា passing error up.u អូខេអាចទៅ babel config.js នៅខាងឆ្វេងដៃយើងឃើញមាន file មួយឈ្មោះ babel config.js អូខេឥឡូវយើងលើ window មែន
បាទលោកគ្រូ
ចុច control shift p អូខេហើយបន្ទាប់មកវាយពី JSON ហ្នឹងហើយលើគេคลิกលើគេ open setting JSON ហ្នឹងមកហើយបន្តមកទៀតសាក់នេះចូលជួយខ្ញុំផ្ញើតាមឆាតឲ្យសុភាខ្ញុំឃើញមីស័យរបស់យើងអាហ្នឹងចាំតិចទៀតខ្ញុំ fix ទាំងអស់គ្នាតែដោយសារដល់ម៉ោងចាំតិចខ្ញុំអាច send តាមក្រោយឲ្យបានណាតែអត់អីឲ្យតែឃើញប៉ុណ្្នឹងសិន
copy ដាក់ណាវិញលោកគ្រូ
copy ដាក់ក្នុង JSON ហ្នឹងឯង copy code ខ្ញុំផ្ញើឲ្យមិញដាក់ JSON ហ្នឹងដាក់ក្រុមគេអញ្ចឹងទៅនេះចង់ឲ្យជន់គ្នាដាក់មកពីលើមកវាអាចជន់នេះហ្នឹងsearch eslin white copy control F CPS រៀនមិញសង្ស័យវាជាន់គ្នាលុបអា comma ចោល no ខាងលើមាន comma មួយដែរនៅជួរទី40ជួរទី40ដាក់ comma ចុងក្រោយវាមួយមកគេអត់ root error ចឹង save វាមកហើយបន្ទាប់មកទៅស្អី up w របស់យើងមិញ
បាទលោកគ្រូបាទហើយ
អូខេសម្រាប់សុភាខ្ញុំប្រាប់មិញតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងសិនអត់អីទេចាំយើង fix ជាតាមក្រោយហើយក្នុងករណីវិជាវិញលេខអីឥឡូវវិជា
បាទលេខអីច្រើនតាមតែអាហ្នឹងវាអត់ស្គាល់ file là យើងលុប remove ចេញ
អូខេ
តែយើងកន្លែង component
អូខេអញ្ចឹងទាំងអស់គ្នា make sure ថាយើងមាន file បច្ចេកវិទ្យា JS មួយដែល run version 2.6.14 ខ្ញុំប្រាប់ហើយយើងបាន copy calculator របស់យើងបញ្ចូលគ្នាបានព្រោះថ្ងៃហ្នឹងយើងតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងហើយខ្ញុំមានការងាររបស់យើងគឺយើងត្រូវធ្វើបន្តការងារតូចទេខ្ញុំ share screen របស់ខ្ញុំមកវិញ screen អូខេការងាររបស់យើងត្រូវធ្វើបន្តហ្នឹងCN ហ្នឹងចាញ់ខ្ញុំផ្ញើ instruction ដើម្បី fix ណាអូខេ I forgot to speak English so there is some assignment for you to do. It's not assignment, just a homework for you to do at home. Make sure that you have the calculator inside your Vue.js application. Make sure that in the Vue tab here you find two components. One is the root, another the app. Okay, and then the app there is a calculator that you want to see. And your homework is to make sure that when you click on all the button here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. It will appear on this. All right? Do you understand? Your homework, you need to do some research. I will give you some hint to do it. But the goal is you can click on this button and it will appear in this, just like a normal calculator do. All right? And how you do it? For you to be able to do this, there are two things that you need to understand. One is about the method. So go to the Vue documentation in here. Where is it? You need to go to Vue documentation. Just type Vue here. And go to the doc. And then what you need to read is about the method. I need to find method. Or maybe just type Vue method in search bar. And read some document about it, like this. Method is something that you can apply on the HTML element. For example, this one, button. We use a directive, like I told you in the presentation slide, we are using the directive. We see the VF, VL, VTouch, remember? In here, we have another directive called VOnClick, all right? VOnClick is a directive for you to add an action and event listener on your HTML. And then inside the code here is the method name. All right. So for example, here we call there is a method called grid. All right. And then we apply it onto the button with the directive VOnClick. See? And here in the method, we have a method called grid, and inside you can write your logic. Okay, so I show you as an example. Go to app.vue here, and then in this section, make sure you have another attribute called method. and then you have an object like this, and then you can create another method with whatever you want. Maybe I just say show number. It's simple, and it will receive a parameter. Okay, and then I just maybe just console.log. All right. Okay, and then we need to call this number or call this function by going to any button that you see on screen. For example, the number 1, 2, 3, like here 1, 2, 3, and then you can apply v on. What is the command? V on, V dash on, and then click. Okay, equal syntax and call the function name show number. But you see in the show number below, we need a parameter, right? So when you call the function here, you need also to apply the parameter number 1 because we are clicking on the number 1 here. Okay, so after I do this, when I go to the calculator that we have, not this one, the sample here, and I go to console here, I click on number 1, you will see the number 1 appear on the console, right? So here is how you apply the click listener on the HTML element. Another one is how you can display it on the screen. All right. To do this, we need to use another directive, the v on the v type. Remember. So first, you need to know what is the HTML represent the screen. You can click on this arrow here. Click on the 0 number. You can see it's called operand 1, right? Operand 1 here. So you need to find that operand 1. You see the operand 1 here, and then you need to use the directive v type, right? And then you need to use the input number. Here is the variable that we are going to create. For now, we don't have it. So if you write it like this and you save it, you will have an error, like you cannot find the input number, right? So to make it work, go to down below. Make sure that you have a data section. Data section is by creating something like this, and then you return. I will share this code to you later. Don't worry. You input number, which is the 0. All right. So when you come back, you can refresh it. It will won't have any error anymore. But when you click number 1, it still doesn't show. See, because it is supposed to get the value of input number to display here, but in the input number, it's still 0. It doesn't change. So instead of console log the number, we need to change the value of input number based on the parameter that we get from a function show number, right? To do this, we need to call this dot input number equal to the number given from the parameter. Okay. So when we save it, we can run. You can see the number here. Okay, but the number 2, number 3, we don't do it like that. That's why when you click on it, nothing happens. Only number 1 works. Okay. So I give you some basic instruction, some basic example. You can follow my instruction, and your homework is to make sure that when you click on the button, it will appear inside the screen, but not just replace it, but you need to append it. When we click 1, 2, 3, it should see 1, 2, 3, not number 1 and then number 2 and then number 3. All right. So you need to do some tweak to make it work. All right. Understand now? We are pretty left.
Only the number that shows up. Is just
Yes,
no. How about the calculation?
About the calculation, if you can do it, go ahead. I don't stop you. All right.
Yes,
but it might be a bit difficult for you. That's why for now, your homework is just to make sure that you click on all this number from 0 to 9, and it will appear on the screen, and that's it. Okay, but if you can do it more than this, it will be very good if you can do that. So I will leave it for extra task for you. If you can do it, please do so. But if not, just show the number 1, 2, 3, and 2, 9, like I just told you.
Also, I got a question. Can we write it separately in the file? Yeah, because I don't want to put it into one, or CSS HTML into one view file. It's like it's messing up all the stuff.
For now, the recommendation is just to keep it like this. It means JavaScript together with template. Okay. If you want to change it, maybe separate JavaScript, whatever you want, you can do so as well. But it's up to you. Anyway, for everyone, just make it simple. All right, just make it simple. Write everything inside. Okay. I don't want to make things complicated. So now
it's okay.
So I will post this code to the GitHub. You can update your code. Wait a bit. Commit. Choខ្ញុំ pull តាមក្រោយវិញកុំឲ្យពួកយើងចាំព្រោះលើហួសដល់ម៉ោង 11:20 ហើយចាខ្ញុំ pull ចូលទៅក្នុង GitHub ឲ្យហើយខ្ញុំ share link ថ្មីអូខេចឹងយើងយកធ្វើបន្តពីហ្នឹងទៅហើយយើងជួបលើកអាទិត្យក្រោយជួបគ្នា session បន្ទាប់គឺយើងធ្វើលើអាកាសជឿនហើយយើងនឹងធ្វើតាក់ទងមួយរបស់មួយចំនួនមានច្រើនទៀតតាក់ទងធ្វើម៉េចឲ្យយល់ពី basic of UGS ណាចឹងធ្វើ homework ដែលខ្ញុំប្រាប់មិញទៅបើសិនបើយើងអាចធ្វើបានច្រើនជាងហ្នឹងនោះហត់តែល្អអត់បញ្ហាទេបើចង់ឲ្យយើងអាចធ្វើដល់កាសជឿននឹងចុចដំណើរការបានតែម្ដងនោះហត់តែល្អហើយតែបើអត់ទេធ្វើតែបង្ហាញ number មិញទៅហើយយើងជួបគ្នាអាទិត្យក្រោយយើងនឹងធ្វើអាកាសជឿននឹងទាំងអស់បូករួមជាមួយមេរៀនផ្សេងៗទៀតអូខេចឹងថ្ងៃហ្នឹងយើងមានប៉ុណ្ណឹងហើយចាខ្ញុំ push code ហើយខ្ញុំប្រាប់តាមក្រោយOkay, see you next week. Make sure you do your homework.
Goodbye, Sean. Thank you.